hello, hello. Can you
Just
hear me
as
now?
we go. Just as we go. Real talk. Just as we go.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me, Rob?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Your mic.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Can't hear you. Your mic.
Yes, it's saying it's not. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you. Your mic.
Hello.
It should be on.
It should be on. Yeah, it's all. It's saying it's showing it's off. Can you hear me now?
We're having some technical difficulties. Yeah, I heard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I heard you earlier. So that means it's on your end now. All right. So he went off, or he probably going to be back on right now. Sorry that we're having some technical difficulties, but it's all good. I just wanted to come on and have other like-minded
Can
men.
you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. All right, that's good. That's good. I know
good.
we're waiting on one or two more guys, but it's a pleasure meeting you, man. And again, I want to thank you for being on the Just Ask Rico show. I'm appreciative because I know it takes a lot for men to open up to talk about whatever it is that they're dealing with or whatever they experience. But I know that your story is going to help somebody else, man. So first of all, I want to say thank you again, man, for being on.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the invite. I really do.
Okay, okay. So what I'll do now, because I don't know if Lawrence, I think he's having technical difficulties getting back on. But in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and start the show because I know a lot of the guys pulled out at the last minute because the game is on. So here we got Lawrence coming back on right now. Lawrence, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you. So
Can't
brother,
hear you, Lawrence.
can you hear me? Hang on.
I can hear him.
No, can, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
No.
Is that brother
Lawrence.
Marco? Is that
All
Marco?
right. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully he can hear us. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. We can't hear you.
I can hear him.
Wow.
You hear him talking?
Yes, I can hear him.
Yeah, he's not even saying anything.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
I mean when you
talking.
kept asking, can you hear him?
Oh, well, I can't hear him on my end. All I just saw him throwing up his thumbs. That's all I saw him doing. All
Okay,
right.
Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear him on
now?
my end.
Okay, well, if you can hear him, then I feel hopefully the other viewers can hear them. So I'll try to get to the comments because maybe viewers can let me know if they can hear him. But again, Lawrence, I want to thank you also for being on the Just Ask Rico show, sharing your story, man. And I'm hoping that whatever it is that you share with the audience is that it can help the next man because we do know that it's considered a silent death, but it's only silent because nobody is speaking about it. And I feel that if we would just at least as men just go to the doctor, we can prevent so much from happening. We're not like women. Women go to the doctor every month. We don't do that. And I know it takes a lot. And me, for personal reasons, I don't even like going to the doctor. So just imagine as a man, we don't like to hear those bad news, but I'd rather hear bad news early than hearing it late. So the questions I
Right.
want to ask you guys, man, and you can just go ahead and put it in your own words. And Rob, since you're here first, I'm going to ask you this question, man. When you hear the word cancer, what is the very first thing that goes through your mind and why?
When I first hear cancer, I hear a deadly disease because we all the C word. It's a deadly disease. So many different organizations out there trying to help fight cancer. I mean, it is one of those things that we've been dealing with for centuries. And some certain cancers are more devastating than others. But that is the first thing I hear about when I think of cancer. It's like, especially when you have it, it totally changes your life and your mindset about things, about life.
Yes, yes, I agree. Okay, Lawrence, I can't hear you, but I know Rob said he can hear you. But I'm gonna ask you that question too. When you heard the word cancer, what is the very first thing that goes through your mind and why?
Yeah. So when I first heard that, I was a little alarmed, but at the same time, I didn't lose myself in fear. And I guess the thing that kind of helped me was the fact that I had at least a couple of other friends that had been dealing with prostate cancer, and everybody was still alive, so nobody I knew that had died from it. And so I kind of felt like it was something that you can survive with. And I'll just tell you, there was a doctor that I had seen for some follow-up care, and he put it to me this way. He said, "Well, we're going to take care of you, and we're going to make sure that you die with it and not from it." And so that kind of resonated and stuck with me. But by no means did I think that it was a death sentence. We're going to make sure that you die with it and not from it. And so that kind of resonated and stuck with me. But by no means did I think that it was a death sentence.
Okay, okay. So, which is great. Now I was able to hear you because I had to go live on my personal phone, so I actually heard your story, man. I appreciate that. So it looks like I'm gonna have to just multitask, but it's all good. Hey, we still getting the message out, and that's the most important thing.
Right.
All right. For me, when I first heard the word cancer, just like what Rob said, I thought about, wow, me. But the first thing I literally thought about was how long I'm gonna live. Then the second thing was, how bad is it? And the third thing I started saying to myself is, man, all the things that I've been through in my life, first of all, I couldn't believe it. Secondly, I was like, this can't be real. And I started thinking, you know what? I'm going to beat whatever this is because nothing is going to stop me. And if I came this far, the word cancer, I ain't worrying about it. So I just had a positive mindset
Can you hear me?
throughout my whole process. And I realized that your mind controls your body. So when you think negative and you think like you're defeated, you're going to be defeated. And that was not going to stop me. All right. So now, since you're still on, I wait for Rob to come back in. But Lawrence, I'm going to ask you this question. Why do you think so many men are afraid to go to the doctor, even when they know something may be wrong? That you die with it and not from it. And so that kind of resonated and stuck with me. But by no means did I think that it was a death sentence. Did you hear that question?
Yeah, I did, but I was hearing my original comments being played back again.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear Rob.
Okay.
Rob, I can hear you.
Thank you. Can you hear me,
Yeah.
Rico?
Rico,
Yeah,
can you hear
I
Rob?
can't hear neither one of you guys, but
Yeah,
are you
and I hear
answering
you,
the question,
I hear you,
Lawrence?
Lawrence.
Say that again, Rob.
I hear you, and I can hear both of you guys.
Man.
But you can hear me. I guess Rico can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear both
yeah,
of you
I hear
guys.
you- I
It
hear you.
sounds like Rico is having a hard time hearing us individually.
Right. Yeah. I hear you, Rico. I hear you too, Lawrence.
Okay, good. Yeah, Rico, what was the question again, brother?
Yeah, I can't hear neither one of you.
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Wow, this is crazy. All right, so I know I asked Lawrence that question, but did you hear the question that I had, Rob?
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
the
No, I didn't
question
hear.
I had is, why do you think so many men are afraid to go to the doctor even when they know something may be wrong?
I believe a lot of them because they know something is wrong and they don't want to, physically hear those words.
Even when they know something may be wrong.
They
I believe a lot of them because
there's always a hesitancy. It depends. A lot of it's their upbringing. Usually, they may have had other people that have died from that, had complications with that. But I think a lot of them, it's one of those, if I don't officially know, then I won't worry about it. But I think a lot of men try to avoid it, should I say. They try to avoid it thinking, okay, I can beat this on my own, or I've been living this long. I think a lot of them feel like they can do it on their
Let's close the door. I'm
own.
on
This is
the
just another
podcast.
thing that they're going to be able to overcome. I hope y'all can hear me okay. Can you hear me, Lord?
I can hear you, Rob, but there's a lot of recording in the background.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background.
Yeah.
So, were you able to hear me, Rico?
I don't think he was able to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's like I have to go live on my phone to hear you, man. But I'm going to go back to Lawrence on the third question. As men, we're taught to be strong, but when facing something like cancer, is it okay for a man to admit that he's scared?
Yes, it is okay for a man to admit that he's scared, right? But let me just kind of go back to the previous question about why men don't go to the doctor, right? Because I think these two go hand in hand. I think they just have a whole lot of men that are just really kind of oblivious about the possibility of them being sick with cancer. Even you, Rico, stated earlier that you couldn't believe that you hadn't gotten sick, right? And there just, unfortunately, a lot of men out there that just don't believe that something major could be going wrong with them. Even if they have some symptoms, they may not, go to the doctor. And it's unfortunate, it's really unfortunate. But to your second question, it is absolutely okay to be afraid, right? But you also have men that are very private. They're very too much pride, and I would even say shame plays a role in it. Okay, to where when people are dealing with things, they just don't want to share it with other people. And that really kind of goes to this whole issue of men not wanting to come to reality with this disease, right? Because a lot of men just don't want to talk about it. Even us now, I only see like us three on here, right? Well, there could be a whole bunch of guys on here right now, talking about this, because even in my journey, I found out after the fact that I had several friends that had been dealing with this, but prior to me getting it, no one ever shared that with me, and so after me getting it and being public with my ailment, I was open and I kind of shared where I was. And it was at that time that other brothers began to open up and tell me what they were dealing with, And so, yeah, I don't think that the men need to be fearful of it. It is something that you can live with and something that you can overcome. So I think we would be in a much better space if we actually talked about this disease.
Okay. And like I said, I know on my end, I cannot hear you, but I have to go live, but that's when it caused the echo. I don't know why, but after we're finished, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and listen to it myself. But Rob, and I don't know why, because I heard Rob loud and clear, then all of a sudden, like y'all sound is gone. I mean, I see y'all mouth moving, but like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. But Rob, I'm gonna ask you that same question. As a man, we're taught to be strong, but when facing something like cancer, is it okay for a man to admit that he's scared?
Yes, I definitely agree with Lawrence. It is okay for a man to admit that he's scared. I think a lot of men aren't educated enough, because all they hear is the word cancer. Now we're specifically talking about prostate cancer, and that has come a long way as far as recovery and sustaining life. So they may not have been educated about that you can survive this. They may probably already thinking the worst, and so a lot of times it comes to avoidance. They may be ashamed. They just don't know. But it is definitely okay to be scared. I'm thankful for my family and my church. They were a big support. I found out, quite a few of those guys have had that cancer. And even talking to my doctor, he said so many men have it, just that some men it's just a little bit more egregious than others. So it's really about going to the doctor, but just being educated about it, and that you can overcome this. But you have got to go to the doctor, and you've got to be proactive. So many times, we sit around and wait, and we just don't want to deal with it, or don't want to avoid it, thinking it's either going to go away, or I can deal with this on my own. But it is definitely okay to be afraid, and when you're afraid, you go to the doctor, you go talk to people who may have had this, and then I think as we become more educated, we become more confident, we become more faithful, and we're much more aware of what's going on.
Okay, okay. All right. We'll go back to you, Lawrence. If getting checked today could give you more years with your children, wife, family, or people who you love, what reason is there to keep putting it off?
There really is no reason to keep putting it off. You know, I would say that your health is your wealth, and what we must understand is, as men, as individuals, period, when we get sick, that it's more than just us invested in our sickness, right? So if we love our families, we love our loved ones, we ought to love them enough to want to be well so that we can stick around to enjoy them and allow them to enjoy us for our remaining years. So in some respects, I think that people can be selfish in that kind of way, where they're just going to deal with their sickness, their disease, all by themselves, and in doing so, they actually cut short the opportunity that loved ones and friends, will have with them. And so, for me, it's just not something that I would do, But men, there's a lot of different kinds of people out here. There are some people that will get this disease, and not just this disease, but get a disease and just be totally antithetical to treatment. They're just like, oh no, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? And they just decide, they make an educated decision to not take treatment, and live the rest of their days on their own terms. So it's unfortunate, but we do have people like that.
Okay. I'll ask you the same question, Rob. If getting checked today could give you more years with children, wife, family, or people who you love, what reason is there to keep putting it off?
Again, I agree with Lawrence. There is no reason. If you know it's going to prolong your life, there's just no reason at all to not go and get checked, and be proactive on this. Like I said, I think it's just a lot about a couple of things. The lack of education and training that men have, their preconceived notions. It could be a number of reasons. I'm sure most of us have a family member that died of some type of cancer. So they may have be looking at the travesty that they may have put the family through. I mean, there's different men are going to think and go through different things, but there is no reason to put it off, because it's not going anywhere, and it's like anything else. If you have a house on fire, you're going to try to if there's a fire, you're going to try to put it out. You're not, hopefully you won't just let it burn. Well, it's the same thing we should do with our bodies. Go get checked out. Go get, make sure we go and receiving the treatment that we receive. But there is checked out. You think about how's that how we're leaving our families, how we're leaving our families in jeopardy by us not taking care of ourselves and going to get checked out. But there is no reason to not go get checked out, and especially if I'm talking specifically prostate cancer, knowing what I know that that is very curable. And again, it's just about being proactive.
Okay. Yeah, and when it comes to men, a lot of us would put time and effort into our car, but won't put time and effort into our body. We only get one. We can always get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. And I remember when I was like around 25 years old, and I remember I was talking to this guy, I think he was like in his 40s, and he had mentioned a word about prostate cancer. I'm 25. I don't know anything about it. And he was like, yeah, man, you might need to get pre-checked. I don't think he wanted me to get pre-checked at that time, but he was like, yeah, there's a pre-check. And I'm sitting there thinking like, I'm 25. I'm like, man, I'm not worrying about that. Like, that's for old people. That's what I was thinking. But I'm that old person now. And we all, even the younger kids, the things that I say now to them is what older folks used to tell me: keep living. Because the goal is for us to keep living. But if you want to keep living with longevity, there's just certain things that you have to do in your life. Like right now, when we do certain things, our injuries last a lot longer than what it was back in the day. But I'm okay with having injuries that last a lot longer, because you know why? I'm here today to experience that. I'm sure we all got homeboys that we grew up with don't even have this opportunity to do what we're doing, because we still got our health. We still moving around. We've seen, and I've seen some of my best friends went 6 feet under. They would love to be in this position to deal with back pains, to deal with leg pain and neck pain and all these things. They would trade that in any day. And they would also trade in the opportunity to be able to go and get checked at the doctor, because we all like to be that warrior, that strong man. But then when we on that bed about to die, now we want to cry and be thinking about what we should have did, when all we have to do is take the method from what women do: go to the doctor on a regular basis. So yeah. I'm going to end it with this last message. Question. Lawrence, what would you tell your younger self? What would you tell your 21-year-old now?
That's a great question, Marco. I don't know. I probably would tell myself to be to always be proactive about things concerning my health. I consider myself to be one that has always kind of had my hand on the pulse of my health. But there's some things in my past, some things that I've done in terms of work environments that probably weren't conducive to good health. And I would just say that to my younger self, to even at a younger age, be more cognizant of your surroundings, your environment, and even as far as certain foods go, just kind of look out for things. Because one specific thing that I did do once I got the diagnosis, and that was I stopped eating chicken. All right. So one thing I know about chicken is that chicken is the most mass-produced meat in the world, right? And it has more chemicals and things like that in it.
Rob. Okay, I'm just seeing. Okay, it looks like Lawrence finished. All right, I'll ask you that same question. And again, like I said, it's hard for me to see if he's still talking, but I saw him stop because I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. But if you were to have an opportunity to look at your 21-year-old self now, what would you tell him now?
I would tell them, and it's funny you say that because I told a young man, now that once I was diagnosed with it, went through it, and dealt with it, I actually told him, don't neglect your body. Listen to your body. Go get screened, go get checkup. There's nothing to be ashamed about, nothing to be wrong. It's about longevity. But listen to your body, and especially when we're younger, we think we're going to be invincible, but eventually you're gonna you're gonna get older. You're gonna get, bones are gonna get weaker. It's just natural. So I would say go to the doctor, get your checkups. I don't, care if if you're the healthiest person on earth, there's no reason why you shouldn't go get an annual checkup. Get stuff and get it documented, get it on there because, things come up later on in life, especially as we get older. They're just, as we get older, we're more prone to things, to more, diseases or whatnot. When we fall down, those bruises and bumps, they tend to stay around a lot longer. But I would tell them, don't be afraid, be proactive. You want to be around long enough to, eventually when you get married and have kids, and you're going to be standing there telling your kids the same thing. But especially if it's something that you can possibly prevent, something that you can detect, I would say definitely please go and get checked out. I had the benefit of, I was in the military, so I was always going, you had to go to the doctor. You had to get poked and prodded and all of this. So that was kind of instilled in me. So when I listened to when I went through this, trust me, and I'm sure they've told you guys, there were really no symptoms for prostate. And I love to golf. I was golfing. The only thing is I knew I was having some, noticed some other stuff. And so I said, well, let me go get checked out. And so that's what I did. But had I not gotten checked out, to this day, I'd be walking around not knowing that I had that because I felt healthy. Everything was good. It just so happened they did a blood test. And then that's how I found out. So I would say, tell a young person, it's okay to go to the doctor. It's okay to go get checked, especially as a young black man. You could say the stigma is that we don't want to go to the doctor because we feel like, well, if nothing's wrong with us, if it ain't broken, why go get it fixed? But I would definitely say, not just for you, but for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones, you owe it to yourself to go get, and to others to go get checked out.
Okay. I appreciate that information from both of you guys. For me, if I were to have to talk to my 21-year-old, I felt like I did pretty good as far as health-wise. So that's why when they told me I had cancer, I could not believe it because I thought I was always doing everything the right way. But sometimes there are certain things that's just out of your control. But, what I would tell my 21-year-old, now knowing what I know is to continue doing what you're doing, but maybe eat healthier because, when I was like in my 20s, man, I think I can sit there and eat a whole large pizza, breadsticks by myself and still had a six-pack. But I didn't realize too, as you're younger, your metabolism burns a lot faster. But maybe those things caught up with me later on, because now it's harder as we get older to burn calories. You can still do it, but it's harder because life happens. And along with life, you're still trying to get your body in shape because staying in shape, it's like another full-time job. So what you put into it is what you get out of it. So if I could tell myself anything was to eat healthy, eat a lot of organic food, but maintain your health, drink a lot of water because yes, I did not drink a lot of water growing up. I only drink a lot of water when I was thirsty. But just knowing what I know now, man, I think I would just tell myself, continue staying in shape, continue eating healthy, continue working out, and, you're going to be okay, man. So, but I'm going to end the show, man. I definitely want to thank both of you guys for being on the show. I appreciate you guys, being transparent. I truly believe that the message that all three of us are saying today is going to save a life. So I do have an event. I'm not sure who's actually here in Houston, But I have an event Saturday, September the 5th. And I'm trying to invite as many men. My goal is for 100 men to be out there because it'll be men like yourself and myself. We want to share our testimony and we just want to help the next brother, man, because you don't know who life you're saving when they see this video. Because most men don't really want to talk about what they're dealing with, but they don't want to talk about it until it's too late. So we're just trying to do our part, man, and save a life, man. If we save one man in life, guess what? We did our job. So again, man, I want to thank you guys, and I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it because I know I couldn't hear you, but I can go back and hear the live, and then I'll get a copy to you guys as well. But it's going to be posted on the YouTube channel, which is Just Ask Rico. I do know it's going to be on our Salt and Pepper Gang page as well as my Facebook page, man. So again, I want to thank you guys, man, and y'all take it easy, man, and I'll talk to y'all later, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
All right.